Welcome, everyone. My name is Mladen. I'm responsible for product development. Now, who would not like to have a mobile device, Power BI mobile installed, and just if you hit the refresh, you see the latest refresh was 901, and now it's 907 here in Europe. So I'll just go and refresh the data, and it's going to be very fast querying it. I think, let's say 2 seconds, plus or minus. And we are getting the data from 1.5 million rows from one table. And just further on, with a little more effort, we just use another page here in the report where the data can be very nicely visualized. So you would create a Power BI dashboard with the KPIs that make sense for that particular view. So if you're looking into the data today, as this filter is on 1.5 million rows, then that's the scope of information that you are managing. So it doesn't tell you 1 million row how back in the date is, depending on the table. But these are the information. Let's just go further down. Okay. And let's try to filter on something like this. This is all going to be very fast instantly, as you can see, once the data are read. And if I click on the locations, then I can see also the locations, how locations are doing. Here it is by the hour. And down there, we can look into the top table of items. Just double click here. Okay, we have information about our item sales in the day. Also going down there, customers and so on. So this is all based on the live query from Power BI Mobile against the SQL. It doesn't really matter what is the behind in the SQL. Is it Dynamics? Is it Oracle? Is it something that you just create? Your transactional table, it doesn't really matter. It's applicable to any SQL table, any server. So we are going to see what are the advantages of setting a report, what are the handicaps, threats in order this everything to work right. We'll create one example just like this. So let's just take a Power BI desktop here. So this was the report that we created. Do not need this anymore. And what I have here is a blank Power BI desktop report. So we are going to connect to database. So we are going to transform data. Actually, we are going to get data on SQL Server. I just close this and just say get data here. And we are going to go against SQL Server. Okay, so the SQL Server where I have transactional data is this one. And actually what I have is Microsoft, in this example, I have Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2018 version. So the first setting that we have to be really careful is that we put it in a direct query mode. This is one of the 4 modes that Power BI works. Import direct query. There is an option to work live connection and streaming. But in this scenario where I'm going against SQL Server, I have these 2 options, which means the data will be left at the source, which is here, and will be working with the cached data that is going to be in the memory. Okay, so Power BI is going to connect to the cached memory here. Now, NAV is offering us, in this case, 1,300, 500 tables. We'll just take a value entry. For those of you who are in Dynamics, you know, this is a transactional table with item values. We're not going to take anything else, just what we need here. This table will be just fine. And then, you know, there are already some rules or recommendations when we are dealing with the modeling. The table value entry probably has, I don't know, 50, 70 columns. And it would definitely not be good to take all this information with us, because it is important what we are dealing with, and we should take as little luggage as possible to our journey. So we are going to do a little transformation. This is what you would do with every table. So I just start, let's say, the column first. I always prefer to work with the date because sometimes it may not connect with the date time format. But at the same time, I'll just right-click, remove other columns, and then add those columns that we are needing. So what are the needed columns here? We'll take number of documents we'll need. We'll need the item ledger entry type. We just want to analyze sales. Then we need to get the sales amount. Okay. Then we have in external document, we have the number of the time is there. Posting date, time. We can take location if we want to do, if that is something we have to do. Amount, let's just try this to see this is all. Okay, we have a document number, type this. Okay, so here in item ledger entry type, we are going to filter. We just want to get profile item value entry type. So this is the sales transaction. So everything here should have some values. Then this is by the document, by the date, time. And if we need, we can do it by location and nothing else. Just put a friendly name. It's transaction. It's transaction. Okay, let's just keep it trans. And just close the query. And now what we are going to create here are a few KPIs that we are going to display. And this all should go away. It should not load the query. So first, item ledger entry, I would not need it because that's anyhow a high type. Also, it's a good practice. Then we have, when you have a values, of course, we need the sales amount here. But I would say it's better to hide this, not to interface with our first value. I mean, for some of you, this is too simple. And yes, believe me, we'll go into more of a 400 level. Let's say this is a level of 100, where we'll just put actual sales amount. So this is the right way to do, not to use the one. And we'll not do a lot, just a little modeling. And it's good to have all these decimals zero here. We are done with this. So we'll create another one. We need to have a number of documents, which is good to have. So just create a number of documents. Of course, modeling can go on and on and on. It's a never-ending story. Number of documents or number of transactions depends what you want to do. So I will do the distinct count, which is document number, which is this guy here, number of the documents and the receipts. And what we will do is, if you see external document, actually we will rename this to time. That's really a time. If I just show you, this is a time here. Okay, let's just show this link here. But I want to have also, I want to have hours. So in here, I want to have hours. So we are just going to put an hour here. So I'm going to add a new column to the table. And I'll just take this as an hour, where I will take first two characters here. It's just walk your ticks. So it will become more interesting. So maybe this is too much data here. You see, okay, this is it. This is coming. Okay, so what I'm going to add here is a new measure, taking the first 2 hours. And because when you're adding the data, definitely the time dimension is important. And the date time, whether you have a date time, I would suggest you to split the date separate dimension and time a separate dimension, because in there you do hierarchies and everything that make much more sense than just date time. It's otherwise too much. So this is not a measure, but it's a new column, which are going to call this hour, and equals left of time. And we just need 2 characters. For us, it's going to be defined. Okay, so pretty much we are done with the modeling on our query M or on DAX here. And let's see what we can do. So let's see the number of documents that we have. Okay, we have number of documents. And okay, this is going to be a KPI like this. Okay, 170,000. Let's see what is the sales. Just also want to give it like this million. I would suggest you to put data if this is not too big without this is much better. And what we're going to bring in also is our sales. We are already designing our dashboard that we are going to display on Power BI. And let's just bring these hours that are 24 hours that we're going to do. And we are going to add this with the sales like this. And what we are going to do, we just want to see the filter of the day. So the posting date on this page is going to be today. And just asking its relative date filter is going to be in this one day. Okay, now also the query will be faster. So you see the data are here. And when I'm doing this, just few advices here. I'm always using the table style without anything. And when we are working on visuals, it's really good to have colors here. And this is the last thing I think that is going to show. And in the colors that we are setting, just a small hint, this is opening. It's not going good to the maximum. We just put a lighter version of the colors and diverge it through the second option in this here. So high is good, and this is it. Okay. Now this is live, so we have 9 o'clock. We need to be sure what is the latest time. So if I put a time, it's always very advisable to have the latest time of the day. So let's just have the latest time, and this will be also a KPI. You see, and latest day too. Now we have the KPIs that we want to do, and we're going to go to the, let's just save it just for sake. If something goes wrong, we have it. And we go to the phone view. This is where we are going to create directly the data. And the first important information is the refresh time. Just copy something somewhere very visible. And if the data are coming here, this is one information, okay? This is also simple. I know that some of you have done this, have seen this. Oh, it's so fine, it's so fine. We'll go for more advanced data. And we can also put this in here, and we can have it like this. Now, because all of the data here are on the black and white, it is really, again, a small hint sometimes gives a user a much better user experience to put a little background, just a little, something that it's more visible for this. So this is it. And if this is the most important part, let's just put the data label red. And yeah, this is fine. Let's just go home and publish this to Power BI. So the Power BI is, I'm logged in as Power BI guy here, Power BI for Dynamics. And what this is going to bring in is to bring me a Power BI mobile. This is the name of the Power BI mobile. It's going to bring me the Power BI mobile data set. After this is done, he asked me to which workspace. I just go to the direct query. And after this is done, here it's publishing. I'm logging, my login here is also in the Power BI. So what exactly am I showing you here on the web page here? So this is my login as I'm Power BI here, Power BI for Dynamics. And here I have a data set. I have just created a data set here. And at the same time, the same name is a Power BI mobile here. Okay, to open my app. And okay, this is it. So you see, the report Power BI mobile is here. I'm going into this. And Let me just open the page here. Let's just refresh it. If the data are coming, then the connection and everything is fine. If this is not so, we are going to see if this is connected to the gateway. So under the setting of the source, not this setting here, but on the setting of the data source. So this has to be connected to the gateway. What is a gateway? Gateway is a gateway. This is a software, part of the software installed on premises, and it's saying to the SQL server, okay, this is SQL demo, this is good. So I have the gateway because I have the same database already done there. So that is good. And let me just see the data. The gateway is taking care about the allowances when Power BI from the Power BI service is asking data to be filled. He's going to the gateway and say, hey, I have a request from this database. So the gateway is here. And the gateway is saying, let me see if I have this server and a database on the list here. And he can say, yes, I have it. What is the credential? Do you have the credential? It's not the Power BI credential or Azure credential. It's the internal database credential because I'm connecting to the on-premises source. And if it's everything is okay, he will pass the data. If it's not, you have to manage this gateway, and the data source will tell you what is here wrong. So on the data set, we can let's say to refresh the data manually. Okay, and that's actually the process of getting data into this Power BI setting here. Gateway, this is running, this is fine. We can put a cache to refresh every 15 minutes if you want, but what we are going to do is we are going to have the on-demand request here. So this is pretty much how a Power BI report is created, or anything in this way. And the report is just showing like any other report that one we have created here, like this one here. Okay, so let's have a look where our newly created report is. So we are going to find it under the workspace mobile direct query. And we are going to look for the reports, and here it is, direct query Power BI. Let's look into the guy here, and there it is. You can see here we didn't put a lot of effort into the design, but actually the data are there. This was the process of creating a report. And first question that you may have, if I have in my scenario 1.5 million, is it important whether I have more tables, smaller tables like location, items, customer, and so on? Is this going to affect the data? The answer is no, because how these things work is Power BI Mobile requires data, and the max amount of the table, the biggest table is taking all the effort, and others are done in parallel in the shadow of the big one. So if you have 1.5 million, the big one, and 10,000 in others, each doesn't affect the model. Or building up the model, if you ask, is building up the model connecting this table, if you have these multiple tables like I have here connected in the model, is this going to affect? The answer is also not.